Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what it really takes to operate at the top tier of cloud computing. We're going to get into the 10 secrets that truly define what senior-level cloud expertise looks like. So let's just jump right in. Have you ever wondered what the actual difference is? What separates a good cloud engineer from a truly great one? We're talking about the kind of architect who ends up shaping an entire company's tech strategy. Well, the answer is kind of simpler, but also way more profound than you might guess. It's not about memorizing more services or writing more code. It's about a fundamental shift in mindset. Seriously, it's all about how you think. And here's the first big secret. Senior architects don't just see a random collection of services. No, they see the cloud through a lens of core pillars. So for our time together, we're going to focus on 4 of the big ones: cost, security, architecture, and automation. Nailing these is the key. Let's kick things off with the first pillar, cost. Because look, before you can build anything amazing, you've got to get the money part right. Mastering your cloud bill isn't just about saving a few bucks, it's one of the clearest signs of a senior pro. And here's why this is so critical. Industry reports estimate that about 32% of all cloud spending is just wasted, gone. That's almost a third of the budget evaporating into thin air. A senior architect's job is to find that leak and plug it fast. So how do they actually do it? Well, we're going to look at 4 secrets: using tagging to get control, the surprising power you have to negotiate, and how to see those hidden costs coming. The ones that can absolutely destroy a budget, like monitoring and data egress fees. Okay, so the first secret to cost control is simple: tagging. Now I know, it sounds like a chore, but it's the absolute foundation of financial control. If a resource doesn't have a tag, you have no idea who owns it, why it exists, or what it's costing you. It's the bedrock of accountability. And this right here is exactly what happens when you don't have that control. I mean, everybody budgets for the obvious stuff like compute and storage. But look at this surprise bill. Monitoring and egress fees. That's just the cost of moving your data out of the cloud, have silently eaten up 35% of the total budget. Senior architects see these hidden costs coming a mile away. Which brings us to our next secret. The price you see on the website, that's just a suggestion. It's a starting point. Senior architects know that pretty much everything is negotiable, from getting a better rate on your enterprise discount program to locking in more favorable terms on long-term savings plans. You gotta ask. All right, now that our finances are in order, we can focus on building the fortress. Pillar 2 is all about security, and the big shift here is moving from a reactive, uh-oh mindset to a proactive, we've got this one. I absolutely love this quote because it just nails the senior security mindset. It's not just about patching the latest vulnerability. It's about questioning every single assumption you have about who can access what and why. We're going to focus on 2 areas where those assumptions can get really dangerous: how you manage identity, specifically using federation instead of static keys, and the critical importance of understanding those shared responsibility gaps. So let's break this down. The old way, over there on the left, was to create these long-lived access keys for every single person and application. It's an absolute nightmare to manage and a massive security risk if one gets leaked. The modern senior approach is federation. It centralizes your identity and issues temporary, short-lived credentials. It's just fundamentally more secure. And this is so crucial. The cloud provider, your AWS or Azure, they're responsible for the security of the cloud, the physical buildings, the hardware, but you are responsible for security in the cloud. That means configuring your firewalls, managing access, encrypting your data. Senior architects know exactly where that line is and never assume the provider is handling something for them. Moving on to our third pillar, architecture. And listen, this isn't about chasing the newest, shiniest, trendiest tech. It's about pragmatism, about understanding trade-offs, and about building for the real world, not a perfect one. So here, we're going to cover 3 secrets. We'll debunk the multi-region myth, get real about the trade-offs of serverless, and talk about using the official provider frameworks to your advantage. First up, the multi-region myth. Oh man, it sounds so easy, right? Just deploy in 2 regions for high availability. But in reality, making that work with seamless failover, data replication, traffic routing, it is incredibly complex and way more expensive than people think. Senior architects know this, and they plan for that complexity from day one. And that same pragmatic thinking applies to serverless. Don't get me wrong, the benefits are amazing. Pay-per-use, auto-scaling, it's great. But A senior architect is always going to weigh those benefits against the drawbacks, like the potential for cold starts, those execution time limits, and the very real risk of vendor lock-in. So how do you make all these architectural decisions consistently and, correctly? Simple. You use the official playbooks. The well-architected frameworks from AWS, Azure, and Google are basically cheat sheets from the providers themselves. A senior architect doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, they follow the blueprint. And that brings us to our final pillar, the smart automation path. And the key word here is smart. This isn't about a mad dash to automate everything all at once. It's about being strategic and incremental. The secret here is that great automation isn't some giant, scary project. It's just a series of smart, small steps. First, you find a manual, painful task, like, say, rotating a database password. Then you write a simple script to fix just that one thing. You integrate that script into a workflow, maybe trigger it automatically every 90 days, and then you just monitor and improve it over time. It's evolution, not revolution. So let's do a quick recap. It's about mastering your costs through tagging and negotiation. It's about building real security on a foundation of federation and understanding shared responsibility. It's about architecting for the real world by knowing the trade-offs and using the frameworks. And finally, it's about automating with intelligence. This is the mindset of a senior architect. And that leaves us with one last big thought. As AI and machine learning platforms start to automate and manage more and more of this complexity for us, what's going to be the next critical secret that defines a senior architect? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.